Hey guys, welcome back. So the next controller that we'll be creating is a publish controller. The first, I'm gonna just write the route instead of, creating the folder and the files. So publish. This is the publish controller. Sorry, let's just paste this. It's a repetitive process, right? So, all right. Okay, so publish and it will not have anything. It's just creating a new post. So let's just name the URL as publish. And it's gonna be called publish, and publish controller. Finally, not having to say post. So publish. All right, so now let's create the folder in our controller. So new folder, publish. And the files are publish.html, publish dot dot c sorry controller.js and new publish.controller.spec.js. Okay, so the let's just copy over how the publish code will look like. We'll just rename everything. Publish. Um, All right, so I don't know if we would need state or state params. Okay, we won't need state params because we're not dependent on anything over here. And yeah, so okay, so we don't need state params. Right, so in the publish controller, but before, again, remember the process that we have been repeating. First, we need to create a service. So a service that would let us create a new post. So create let's just think what should be the name. Okay, create post. And data will need to be passed on to because we don't need an ID. We're creating a new post. So we're basically creating a new ID, a new identity. So we need the data, like the post object, to be passed down to us. And so our function would look similar, just a few changes. So it will be a post call, and it will have what was the endpoint? Let's just check what the endpoint was in our endpoints. For creating a new post, we had slash post slash create. All right, so slash post slash create, and we don't need ID. And instead of null, we will have data passed over. We don't need any headers, not that I know of. Yeah, we don't need any headers. This is the data that's being passed. All right, so the create post service is done. Now let's create the methods. So let's see. Now, before creating the methods, let's see how the HTML would look like. So basically for this, we would need a form, right? It's basically a form submission, as you've recalled in when you saw the demo and all. It's just a form. So first, let's just declare the default div section. All right, and it's a container. So div.container. And inside the container, we would have the form. So let's have the form. Okay, so the form I'll be using Bootstrap form. So just Google it. Bootstrap form. Mm, yeah, this one. So I'll be using Bootstrap forms. I'll be using form groups. So just copy it. So the first form will be a title. So it's just the title of your post. So it's a title. Uh, it's not the type email, it's the type text. And it's for title. I don't know what these are, so I'm just going to remove it, and I don't think it will have any repercussions. So title. I don't care about this either, so I'm just going to be deleting this. All right, so this is going to be repeated. So we have a title, we have author, 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 and this will be author. So we have that done, and we have a description, like a body. So description, and it's for DESC. I don't want to read the whole thing. DESC. And this will be a text area. Text area. Text area, enter body of post. And let's have the rows, let's have 15 rows to it. Rows equal 15. And then remember we had a Boolean flag. See, we had a Boolean flag for published, which is a true false. So let's, because this determines if you want our post to be published as a draft or to be directly published. So let's have a body for that as well. It's a checkbox. A checkbox that would help us toggle between a draft and a post. So this will be input type equals checkbox, and the label would be, well, the label would be inside. This is a different kind of label, so basically this input will be inside this label, and there will be no placeholder because it's a checkbox, no ID either. So it will be called published, true or not. Like publish it. If it's true, then we publish it. If it's false, then we don't publish it. And then finally, we'll have a submit button. So button class equal btn primary, and then, well, I don't have any primary button. I think I have overridden it with I have overridden the default what's it called, bootstrap code. So I named it my own button macchiato. All right, and it's a submit type button. Submit, and create. Now, when you click the create button, which is ng click, we want to invoke a function. So publish dot create, that's our function. All right, so create post. A bit more, and let's name it. Let's not have it so much ambiguous. All right, so we have the create. Now let's see how our form looks like. Where is it? So I didn't include it in the nav bar. Oh, right. So it's a new thing, right? So let's just run the gulp serve again. And in the meantime, let me include this in the nav bar. So, okay, that happened fast. Okay, so let me include this in the nav bar. Publish, and the page is publish. So we have a publish page. Yep, we have the form. Okay, this is coming ugly. Anyway, so let's just remedy that. It's because, yeah, now it's supposed to come nicely. Why are you doing this to me? Okay, I'll fix that later. So we have the simple form here. So whenever we click the create button, it should take up all the stuff from my form and then post it. Now, in order to do that, have you heard of ng models? Because that's the only way we could uh, bind our data from the HTML and use it in our function, use it on our controller. So let's have an ng model declared for each of the inputs. So ng model equal, now that depends, publish dot new post object dot title. Now what this means is that let's create an object, vm dot new post. Okay, let's create an object which will initially be empty. So title is empty, body is empty, author is empty, sorry, empty, and pub published is false. These are like the default values right now. So these are all empty and or like default values. Now publish dot new post dot title will bind whatever's inside into the input. So since it's empty, it will be binding empty string to the input. If I write something here like title, this will bind it. As you can see here, see, title is bound to my input box. So that's a really cool thing about Angular. You just it's a binding between the input box and your function and your controller. So you just bound it over it. So now I want it to be like, I want it to be empty string. So that's why. Let's bind the other inputs as well. The other input boxes. So we have author and we name it to author. We have the text area, we name it to body, and we have the checkbox, which is the published. This will toggle according to the checkbox. If the checkbox is false, it will be false, and if the checkbox is ticked, then it will be true. All right, so this is bound. Now what we want is we want to pass this VM. Okay, so this is the create post function, Now the create post function will basically create post, and then the data will be vm.new post. And if the post is created successfully, then, okay, I want the state again. So dollar state, and I want us to redirect it if data, then I want us to redirect it to $state.go home for now. You can change it. You can change it up according to your needs. All right, so let's see if this, let's give it a whirl. Let's see if this works. So I hope everything, that's fine. Let's just see. So let's name it dummy post. Um, let's name it, which character from Naruto did I not? So let's just use Killua. Sorry, Killua. It's from Hunter x Hunter. If you've watched it, please do. If you didn't, it's a masterpiece x masterpiece. That's what everyone is in the comment section of YouTube says. Okay, I want to publish it. So let's create. Yep, it's created. Wow, I didn't expect it to be created so fast, in the first try and all. So yeah, the dummy post has been created. You can delete it. You can publish a new one. So yeah, the process continues. I think this kind of marks the end of the tutorial because I think that was enough information. We are sort of done with most of the functionalities. The only thing that's left is edit. Now, the edit one is very, very similar to the create post one. At least the functionalities are the same. Again, you declare a service, which will be edit post, and then you give a button in your controller, and then which will invoke the edit post function. And the edit post function will basically first redirect you to the published page again. And in the published page, you have all the information already set. You just change all the information and then edit it. Now it's the same as create, and I want you guys to try it out. I mean, I have the code. The code is there in my GitHub. You can see it. It's very similar to the create post. Take a look at my code and see how it goes. And in the next tutorial, we'll be covering testing because I think I've covered most of the post, delete, get functionalities, methods, how to utilize your endpoints and everything. So in the next tutorial, I'll be covering how to write posts, uh, and I expect that the edit part can be done by you. If you see my code, it's very similar. You can change it up, and the function, and I mean the basic logic behind everything is the same. The basic logic behind the edit is the same. You create a service, you invoke that you inject that service into your controller or your directive, and then you basically just call your service. That's it. All we're doing here is calling our service, doing some data manipulation, doing some event calling, I mean, event listening, and then we're just calling the service. All right, so then see you in the next tutorial. Give a thumbs up and good luck.